All right. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to come down and you're going to find your class. So this is my class for this year, Mechatronics 2023-24. And I can, I can't publish this class right now because I have to do a couple things first. So I'm going to go into this class, click on this class. And one of the first things you have to do is choose like a home page. But before you can do that, you actually have to create a module because we don't have any pages and we don't have any modules. And so the first thing that I would recommend you do is you come into modules and you create a, introductory module. Doesn't even matter. You can delete this later if you want, but I would go Mechatronics Introduction. Right? And so now I've got a module, right? And they actually made a change to the way things get published, which is really cool because it used to be if you published this and it had anything in it, it would publish all the things in it as well, which sucks, right? Because you never want to do that. But now they've got it set up so you can publish the module only, or you can publish all the items in it. We don't have anything in it, but like if you had imported something, or if you've created some module and you've got 20 things in there and they're not published to your students so they can't see them, and you publish the module, it used to just like all those assignments would just get published, right? Now they don't. But you publish only, and I would publish all of your modules as you create them and put some stuff in them, publish the module itself. And so that students can see kind of like, oh, these are the things we're going to be doing, but they don't necessarily see the assignments that are in them. All right. So we'll talk about assignments in a little bit. All right. So now that we have a module published, we can come here to modules, right? And you can see that you've got a module there. We can actually publish another module, class setup, right? And so now I've got another module and it's not published, so I would go ahead and publish that one. And so now if I go to modules, I've got 2 modules here, right? So now we can actually go, publish this class if we wanted to. But we probably also want to first create a page. And you're going to want to have like a home page for your class. And so I'm going to go to pages and I'm going to create page and I'm going to say Mechatronics home. And then I can go save and publish or just save. If you're just working on something, it's not quite ready to publish, just click save so that it's saved, but I can save and publish. All right, there's nothing in here, but now I can, go home, and right now the default is to go to your modules, but I want to go choose a home page. So I'm going to go choose home page, and I'm going to have it be, I'm going to have it be a page, but I can't select the page because I actually have to go in and set a page as an actual home page. Let's see if I go to pages. Let's see if I go to this page. Oh yeah, use as front page. So you can select any of your pages. Once you've created pages, you can select any of those pages to be like your front page, right? And so now I can select that as my front page. And then I go back to home and I can choose a home page, and either its default selects your modules, but I want it to be my home page. And so now I'm going to save that.
My use as front page is gray. It's not selectable.
Can you go to pages and create one?
I checked the box. I'm on pages and I tried checking the box. I saved it.
Is it not published? It's not published.
This is saved, not published.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. And so now I've kind of got that set up. All right, and we'll go into more of this, especially tomorrow, or today if you get stuff in, but like we're probably going to run out of time, maybe. But now, I have a structure of a page here. Now, there's a couple of things that I like to do, because you come over here and it's like the thing that I go to all the time is my modules, right? Well, it's all the way down here. It's like, right? And like, I rarely interact with people, because once your students are in there, they're in there. You're not necessarily interacting with people, and you're probably not doing much with files and syllabus and stuff. And so I come all the way down to the very bottom here to settings. And you'll go into settings, and then I go into navigation, and then I go grab my modules and I bring them right up underneath my announcements, and I bring my got my assignments. I bring my quizzes right up underneath assignments. I have never used the big blue button. I've used rubrics a little bit, but outcome, syllabus, I don't. These are things that I don't interact with that much, and so I kind of organize it this way, because I'm basically doing announcements, modules. That's the thing I'm in the most. And I bring my pages up. Right under. Right there. So I go announcements, modules, assignments, quizzes, discussions, pages, right? Because that just makes it, those are the things I interact with the very, very most, so I just put them up top, all right? And then I come down and I save it. All right, the other thing that I do in settings is I come all the way down and I click on this, mastery paths. And I have a whole video on mastery paths, and we might talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but probably we won't really dive into this. But let me just explain kind of what this is. Mastery path is a way, and then update your course. Mastery path is a way to set your quizzes up so that you can have your students take a quiz, and if they get 90% and above, then you say, this is the next thing you're going to do. If they get, below 90, then you can point them other ways, right? And so you can actually create a kind of a pathway where if they do great on this quiz, they go here. And if they do great on that one, then they're done. And then if they're done with that, they can take the final unit test or whatever, right? And I'm just starting to experiment with that this year. And I think it's really super powerful to do that kind of work. It's like a ton of work, but even just starting a few things, like take one module and you just kind of get it set up so that you're like, here's a quiz, here's a summative assessment, here's your mastery, right? And if they don't pass all of those, then you say, hey, you should go back and do this assignment and this assignment, and then come back and take this quiz, right? Things like that. And that's what that mastery path is. So I just turned that on. I don't think for this class we need to do anything else. And some of the things you may or may not be able to actually modify the way that we've got them set up. But those are the things. All right. So, bam. Now I've got my class, and it's up, running. You can start creating pages. You can start creating assignments. You can start creating stuff. Any questions to this point?
I'm going to add right here that we're going to do our best to give you access to your predecessor's campus pages, so you don't have to read them. You can change, modify, make it your own. I don't want you thinking as we're building it here, like, oh my God, we have all sorts to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because those should all still be there. Those counts are active. We should be able to just extract a whole archive of their class, and you can actually bring that whole class into your Canvas shell as a side thing. You don't bring it right into your class. Bring it in as its own class, and then you can actually go through it and think, oh, I like that. You can then actually move those things into your classroom and pull those things in. All right. What do you use pages for? All right, so let me answer that by actually showing you some stuff that I do. let's just go. We're gonna go look. Okay, so let's navigate around here a little bit. So you got your class, right? Well, up here at the top, you've got this thing called dashboard. That just puts you back in your top dashboard where you can see all your classes. So, boom, I come up here, back to my dashboard. I can now publish this class. So my class for now, I can publish that, and now it's published, and your students can actually see that class once they get logged in, right? But like if we went back to look at, here's my backup, here's my old class from last year. All right. And this is my homepage that I created. All right. And actually I have it so it puts the last 3 announcements. I think I might change that to in my current one just to show like 1 or 2. But if you have announcements, then they just show up. So that when they land on the homepage, they just see the latest announcement that you've got, or the latest 3 announcements you've got. I think you can do 1, 2, 3 announcements there. And then I just have some information on my homepage, right? And this stuff is just WYSIWYG. I don't know if I can edit any of this stuff anymore. Maybe I can. Yeah, this is just kind of you're basically able to do all this kind of stuff. You can add images. You can put this pink thing. Oh, that's not looking very pink up there, is it? That's why I need a new projector. This one here that's like a little box. That's just a table with one thing in it. So I just use that to format stuff. It's like I want to highlight something and color the background. I just make it into a table that's one element big, and it's the whole thing, right? But so I put a title in. I've made it a heading. I put a little thing in. I put a link to my announcements, right? And how do I do that? Well, I went to my announcements and I just went and grabbed that, that link there, and went here and I just highlighted that, and I pasted in, the URL for that. And I will seriously, if you're like, this is so much over my head, it's like I will help you do all of this stuff. We can do some one-on-ones. And then I put in some links to stuff that I want my students to do, and I have a little pictures of me doing weird stuff, and then just some information about the class. And it's like, hey, where to start? Yep, announcements. That's where we're going to do in my class. It's announcements all the time. That's where we're going. And then you can have, introduction to you. You can have links to other stuff. You can have a link to your syllabus. Once you create a syllabus, I guarantee you that'll be something we'll talk about in the PDs next week. And this is your page for your students, right? So you can have like links to interesting stuff that they do. Now, the question was asked, like, what else? What other pages, right? If you have a page set up as your home page, then it always goes there, and you have to like go to the other pages up here, view all other pages. Like, okay, yeah, I really want to see all the other pages. And so I have a bunch of other pages. A lot of these are maybe, I probably won't have as many this year, but most of the time I have a page that is for each of my units. Like my main units, I'll have a page. It's like, this is what this unit is. Here's some interesting things about this unit. Here's some introduction to it. And you can publish those so that your students can then see that. And then typically the next thing in that unit, in your organizational, your module organization, you have a page and you have an assignment under it or quiz under it. In that page, it'll have a next, and it goes to the next thing, right? So it kind of lets them navigate through things. And so I typically have a page for the unit. When you say a page for a unit, you mean like a reference sheet of some sort? Kind of a reference, like what is this unit? What are the, I'll have on there like, see if I have a good example. I'll have on there like, what are things? Nope, that's not a good example. All right, so in my class, there's a little board that we use. It's called Circuit Playground, and so I just have and this is like not even it's one that I started working on and I never really finished. And in fact, I didn't even publish it, right? But it basically would have just some information about that board and links for stuff for that board and stuff like that. So it's a reference page for that unit that you want to allow your students to see all that stuff, resources, things like that, right? All right. So what does my modules look like? Right. So I have a 3D printing module, and I have a writing assignment module that connects to the STEM magazine that I have the students do, right? And so I've created a whole bunch of those assignments. And so it's like and I basically just create a module for each major unit, and then kind of organize those. I've come up with a nomenclature here that I use, and the way I use that is actually on my personal account. I've got a structure for like my mechatronics account, and I have all my units, and I've basically created these units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in those units I'll have numbering. So come talk to me about if you're like, how do I organize my stuff on my personal account? I just created my units and I organized them, and every once in a while I'm like, this one needs to be this way, and then I go change all the numbers, right? But that's kind of what I've done. All right. What time is it? I don't want to keep between you guys and lunch, right? All right. So back to my presentation. What did I want to? The goals for today was. I know what I'm going to show you. So in my personal account, my personal Canvas account, I have like created 500 classes, right? I've actually created a class for like each of my major modules. I don't know if I would recommend that necessarily, but like if you have a big section, like your CPR section, right? Maybe create a whole class just for that. Just wrap everything around there so it's all self-contained and it's just the CPR. Or, if it's, ballistics, and there's a whole section on, how you're going to do, teach your students all about ballistics, and it's a self-contained thing. Just go create your own class. Just create a class for it. And I don't go through and make, I don't put images in the class or anything like that. But what I do is I just create a class, and then I can absorb that class into my other class. I can just bring a class in, another class in, another class in, another class in, and they're all in those classes. You've just created everything as modules, and they just come into your school class as a module, right? And then you can just organize things a little bit the way you want. But that way you kind of separated them a little bit. You might just start just creating a class, but as you've realized, this is a giant module and I really want to self-contain it, maybe just put it into a class. And again, I'll talk to you. But so, for example, I'm gonna post this. I'll have this posted tomorrow so that you guys can actually get to it. But what I did was I created a class that is my new teacher class, right? Oh, did I have anything in it? What's in here? Wait, I thought I put more things in here. You know what? I haven't put much in here. Wait a minute. All right. I will post this though, but it's going to be things like this. So I have a class orientation module, and again, if there's anything here that you guys want, I'll ship this over so you can pull this in. But like for example, I have a class orientation module. It's like this is kind of stuff that I might use in any class, not just my mechatronics class. I'm trying to create this one so it's like, oh, it's like navigating Canvas, right? And there's an assignment. I've been able to log into Canvas. Your students basically get into Canvas and click yes on a quiz, right? And now you know that they were successful in doing that, right? I'm going to have another assignment where it's like I'm going to have a survey. If you want a survey for your class, I've got a survey, and I can send you a link for this as well. I will send all this stuff tomorrow. But like I have a survey that I do with my students, right? And basically it's like they log in. They'll have to log in with their MetroEd account typically, but I also ask them for their name. I want to know what they want to be called. If they want a different name, and like instead of Alexander, they want to be Alex, right? I ask those questions. I ask some LGBT questions to make sure that they know that my classroom is a safe place. And I don't really push any of this stuff. And I don't in the first day, I don't go, my name's Jim Burnham, and my pronouns are he, him, and then I don't make the students do that if they don't want to, right? I don't do anything like that. But I do provide them an opportunity in this to tell me, like, what do they want? And is it safe to talk to their parents about that decision, right? And then I ask them a bunch of technology questions because I want to know, like, what kind of technology do they have access to at home? And then I ask them, some stuff specific to my class, like, have you ever used an Arduino? And one of the answers is, what's an Arduino? Have you used a Raspberry Pi? What's a Raspberry Pi? Right? So I kind of gauge what they're if they've programmed, if they've soldered, so you could create questions for your specific classroom. And then I ask them some plan, what do they plan on doing when they grow up, and what do they do in their free time, and just some general stuff that that they can tell me. And I ask them, why they came to this school, right? Kind of get a feel for, like, why are they here? What do they expect to get out of my class? And then is there anything else they want to know? And I do tell them, hey, this is a safe place, and I will be their advocate. I will keep their secrets. I do say, I am a mandatory, reporter, so there are some limits to what I keep secret, but basically I will keep their secrets, and I make sure that they know that this is a safe place. Yeah. That's true. Maybe I'll change that. You're right. That's a better way to phrase that. And then I ask him if there's anything else, right? Ninja skills, BoStaff skills. What do they do? And I have a link to this actually, where I have a version of this that's a little more generic, and then you can, like, copy this form and you can use this. So I'll send that out later today as well.
Please feel free to explore and try new things. It's okay to be vulnerable to your students, let them know you're trying something new. Okay, I think that's part of the learning process. I think that models courage to try new things, and even modeling how to make mistakes. Okay, that's okay. They see improvement, they see that process. That's one thing I always kind of helped me fall in love with teaching the kids. Kids are very understanding. I mean, as long as you're kind of you respect them, you also kind of say, hey, I'm trying something new. Let me know how it works out. Give a quiz to you. So if it doesn't work out right, don't feel like it's going to be detrimental to your grade. We're going to try it out, and then try it. If it works, or you learn as we go through. They see you learning, pushing yourself. It gets them to learn and push themselves too. So go ahead, try new things, be vulnerable. We got a lot of people here to work it out with. We also crash your burn. We get to collaborate with you, make sure it doesn't happen again. They see you coming back and keep at it. You're showing on the right stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been doing a bunch of things this year where I talk about. So we don't grade on attendance here, right? We don't grade on attendance, but what I do in my class is I grade on uh, on employment communication, right? And so, for example, if they're not going to be here, I say you need to email me or text me before class. I have a Google text, or they can through Canvas. They can message you through Canvas. And before class, before that bell rings, I need to know that you're not going to be here, right? And I don't actually care why. I mean, they could literally tell me I just stayed up too late and I slept in. Like, I don't actually care. I want them to get in the practice of communicating that. And if they do, then I'm going to give them the points for participation that day, right? And so I'm not grading on them that they're not here. I'm grading on them that they're not here, but they communicated, right? I have a story I tell of a friend of mine. His son worked at like Walmart, I think, maybe Target, one of those places. But he was early, 4:30 a.m. He had to be there to like do stocking and whatnot and things and stuff. And so my friend would get up and he'd see that, when he got up to go to work, his son was like, door was up, gone. He's gone, right? Gets up one day, his son's like, that door is shut. He's like, what? He kind of peeks and he's like, and it's like, 6:30. He goes, didn't you have work today? And he's like, leaps out of bed, oh my gosh, and he's like, yeah, I'm so late. I'll just talk to him tomorrow. And my friend goes, no, you probably should call them. He's like, all right. Calls him, says, hey, this is what happened. I'm really sorry. I know, whatever. And the guy goes, yeah, we were a little concerned, but you know what? We've got someone to cover your shift. Don't worry. Just come in tomorrow. Don't worry about it. We're good. So he's like, all right. But he's still anxious. He gets there next day, and they have like their little pre run out to do your stuff meeting. And the boss goes, all right, so yesterday we had a few people didn't show up. And he names off 4 people, including, my friend's son. And he says, why don't you guys come up the front here? And he goes, so Brendan and Monica, they called me, right? They were late, but they called me and they explained what was going on. But Frankie and, Miguel, they just thought they could show up today with no consequences. All right? So, Brandon, you can go sit down. You two, Sarah will see you. She'll get your last check, turn your stuff in, you're gone, right? And, it's just like, yeah, your students need to realize that they need to communicate. And so I treat my class, when they're like, oh, it's not the same as a job. I'm like, we're going to model that. We're going to practice that. We're going to practice all that kind of stuff. So I do that. And I have an assignment that I'm going to use. This is an assignment that I've created a whole bunch of these, and I'll put this into that other class and then get you the archive of it so you can then take this and change it the way you want. But basically what I've set up was, it's an assignment. It's actually set up as a quiz. So there's some things that they can actually answer in this, but really it's points I'm going to take away. They get the points. And if if that week they were absent and didn't communicate, then they lose some points. And so it's like, I couch this in, you have these points this week. Here are things you need to do. If you don't do it, you lose some of these points. Because people, they're much more motivated to not lose something than to get something, right? I don't know what that psychology is. And so then I basically say, hey, I want to know some things. What worked? What were you successful in? I want them to kind of think about their day and what they did, or their week and what they learned. And so I want them to kind of process that. And I want to have them spend 10 minutes doing this on a Friday, right? Maybe that's the entry ticket that I have them do. I have them think about what they did. And then I talk about, this whole professional thing, and I just kind of reiterate so they can remember what they're supposed to do. And like I said, I don't care if like I missed, because I had a driver's ed appointment or doctor appointment or counselor or field trip, or I just couldn't make it today, my mental health. and then I just have them quiz, and I give them 5 points, 1 point for just like, are they understanding everything? Just this is just to give me a feel for like how do they think they're doing versus how I think they're doing. And then I have them do a little quick essay on like a, you know 25 to 50 words on, that's like 6 sentences. Like, what did you learn today? What was interesting? What was blah? And I'm going to have them do this every week. And it's good for me. My point system for major assignments are about 100. I make my 100 points, right? So I'm giving 1,000 points a week for being here, participating, or communicating, or catching up on their assignments, right? And so this is what I do. And so this is kind of how I set up my assignments. And I actually do virtually all of my assignments where I want them to type something in. I make them quizzes, just because I like the way that the quizzes let me interact with them. I can set them up as multiple choice so that I don't have to. It's like auto graded, or it's set up where there's a little essay write up. When I do quizzes with essay write ups, I tend to have like maybe one multiple choice thing or two multiple choice things, and then an essay thing, because you don't want to have multiple essay because it's just so hard to like grade them. If you're going to have them write something to you and you want two different subjects, just still have them put it in the same space, right? Because otherwise you're like scrolling back and forth, and there's something stupid with Canvas where it puts the point value at the top and then it shows you the thing. So for you to see it, you have to scroll down to see it, and then you have to scroll back up to give the points. It's like, So I just like to have that all in one section. Okay. All right. So here's what I think we want to do. I will post this, what we just talked about today, but tomorrow, this is what I want to do. I want to create your first homepage. We'll create your homepage. We'll set up your unit 0, housekeeping module, which is things like I need to pee. How are you going to manage going back and forth to the bathrooms and things like that? What's your plan, right? Here at the school, we kind of want to know when students are in and out of classroom. The way I do it is I have a wall here, magnetic wall with little tags, and I have all my students have a little tag, and then they just put their tag up on the I'm in the bathroom tag, and then they take it off. Right? And we practice that, because what happens is it gets on there and then it doesn't get off when they come back, But like I couch this in the terms of, hey, if we have an emergency and we have to like leave the classroom or something, I don't want to have to be like, okay, before we go, really, it's like I want to be able to go, okay, no one's in the bathroom, right? Look around. Yeah, that is true. Okay, let's go. But like, I want to know who's out of my classroom, right? What's your policy going to be for eating in your classroom? So I want to go through like, what do I have in that first section, and let's create that. Let's create that first section. And like I said, I'm going to update that one module that I have, and you can copy that tomorrow. So we'll also talk about quizzes, and we'll walk through some quizzes, creating some quizzes. Like I said, there's a link here for 6 different videos on my philosophy on quizzes and how you can set up quizzes, and just some tips on quizzes and things like that. So you can go watch those videos this afternoon, tonight, whatever, and you can get ahead, or we just walk through some of those things tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to stop the recording. Stop. Goodbye. It didn't actually go by.